11 minutes to 8. The most significant purchase you'll make in your life is your house. And residential zoning laws are changing on July 1. That is to say, in 22 days' time. Greville Pabst is the CEO of the WBP Property Group. So, Greville, this is going to happen. There's no possibility that something's going to intervene in the meantime?
No, Ross, it has been approved, and it's going to give greater clarity, I think, about the type of development that we can expect in residential areas. And councils have until the 1st of July to implement those changes into their planning schemes.
Right, so this doesn't relate to, there's still a difference between commercial, industrial and residential. This is saying that there are three types of residential, yeah?
Yeah, there's three types of residential. There's going to be a neighbourhood zone, which essentially is going to only allow 2 dwellings per lot. So it's just going to have a height control of 8 metres, and really...
How many stories is 8 metres?
Well,
roughly? It's
2-storey.
Okay, so 2 on a block and 2 stories, and if you're in that zone 3, is it? That's it?
Yeah, neighbourhood zone, that's it. So essentially it's going to protect houses that within that zone, and it's going to do 2 things, I think. It's because it's constricting supply, it's essentially could drive prices up in that inner city area, and secondly, it's going to push developers out into the outer and fringe suburbs of Melbourne to do their development, which I'm sure they're not happy about.
As the neighbourhood residential zone you just spoke of, 2 on a block, 2-storey limit, is that going to be the most prestigious, is it?
Well, it is. It's going to constrain it to those leafy Melbourne suburbs. So essentially it's going to protect those zones, those properties. So right now, some of those houses are protected by heritage overlays, but this is a far-reaching, an entire overlay. You just cannot really develop those.
So Greville, we got that zone, which is 2 on a block and 2 stories. That's it. What's the next zone? That's general residential. What can you do there?
Well, you have the growth zone. Now, that's going to allow residential sort of density and scale. It's going to encourage 4-storey development, and the height control on that is 13.5 metres. So it's essentially going to push. It's a bit like Barcelona. On the fringe of the city, you've got those 3-4-storey developments and protect more in the inner city. So that's essentially what the growth is going to. It's going to push developers out into those outer suburbs.
Right. What's the general residential zone?
And the general residential is a bit of a the one in between. So it will
How many metres?
That one's 9 metres.
Is that 3 stories?
And it will allow, in some cases up to 3 stories, depending on the neighbourhood mix.
Okay, so folks will want to know whether they are in the residential growth zone, the general residential zone, or the neighbourhood residential zone. Is there a website that you can go to in order to find out which one applies to your house?
Yeah, if you go to the government planning site, and if you Google reformed residential zones, it'll all come up for you, Ross.
Okay, good on you, Greville, and that is going to determine what people are able to do with their properties, and accordingly, according to Greville, price. Greville, thank you very much.
Good on you, Ross. Thank you.
Greville Pabst, CEO of WBP Property Group.